Hello Galactic family. October ended and it was really a month and both. Since he began and ended with a new moon, he had a full cycle of energy, which was plenty for us processed. But November is a totally different vibe, away from the power when October to a more balanced November 2nd. Now we begin to experience our new energy and feel our way to becoming the new paradigms that have been building throughout the year and throughout this century. Energy moves in cycles and new cycles begin after the old finish, so we cannot look for the end, and then expect everything to be great after that. Instead, we need to accept the transformation and movement, incorporating the newest that can arise once we let go of the old and obsolete energy. November is a double month. 11 is the 11th month and November 11th 2016 is a 11, with 2 days of triple 11 on the 11th and on the 29th, so get ready for some strong opportunities to integrate energy and raise some points on the spiral of ascension. Once a life experience have ended, we can move to the next. So, if you notice some similar things happening in November, which took place last month, earlier this year, or even a few years ago, it is because you still have some work to do with this energy. But the energy is moving at an ever faster pace, so if you really want to accept its transformation and ascension, we'll have the support you need to do this. It will be another month of fast pace as more incorporate our paradigms of 5D and integrate into the world of 3D. Get ready, stand firm and take off to the multidimensionality. We are ready for it now. November may be a joyride and it is time to shine, let go and take off. While finished another challenging month, it is tempting to ask when all this will end. This is not a good question to ask now, because it implies that we are passengers on this trip and we have no control over the results. But we are the driver and we have all the control, as we shall see in November. Energy 1 October, entered the November 2nd, but this is a second reduced from 11. November is the 11th month, which is the integration of spirit and matter, human and divine. We are ready to reap the rewards of our efforts now, or are we waiting for permission to partake of the banquet of victory of life? This is up and find out in November that the rewards are there, but we have to take the podium and claim them. November may be a joyride if we are willing to let go, take off and shine. November begins with a new moon that occurred at the end of October. However, energy is still resonating with us and this was a very active new moon. This really brings the November issue of spiritual integration with the Sun, Moon and Mercury trine 120 degrees, with Neptune and Pisces. Here we have both light Sun and Moon and Mercury, the planet of karma, all making connection with Neptune and Pisces, the last house of the zodiac. The message for us is that we become spiritually mature, we accept as powerful spiritual teachers and let go all thoughts or beliefs about not being worthy or good enough. But this is better because Jupiter is close as the traditional ruler of Pisces, so it amplifies the spiritual energy that we have to use for our transformation and transition to the rise vibration. Jupiter continues the effect of September 2015, when we move on to the second phase of our spiritual awakening. That cycle then began. Then there is the complicated conjunction of Venus/Saturn happening, too. What happens when you put the planet of beauty, love and partnership in the same small space that Saturn, the master of disciplining zodiac reality? Or a lot of heated discussion or a stony silence. The energy of this union is a reality check for us in the area of relationships, starting with the one we have with ourselves and relationships with others. Are we being true with ourselves, giving us the same level of care, compassion and consideration we give to others? Where we are focusing our energy and what we create in our lives, separating our needs, wants and desires of others. Venus wants it, and not always in a balanced and achievable way. Saturn strives to focus our enthusiasm in what we really want, and we eliminate the limitations, distractions, worries and fears that prevent us realize our dreams. Venus is like a 3-year-old who wants the biscuit, and Saturn is the mother says, "No, not before dinner." The mother is doing this to benefit the child, but she did not feel it. Our answer here is important: continue to reject the no, or discover why the no is there and then create other plans? Are we in denial of something in our reality, or are we willing to take the pink glasses and start doing what we need and want to be happy? Have you been feeling less motivated, a little slow and unconsciously giving a very deep look and detailed in your life? You can blame Mars for this for the last few months, because he was faced to Saturn and Pluto in September, November and squaring the conjunction Uranus/Eris in the last week. We are used to the energy of Mars with a very fast moving, except when he was retreating and advancing through Scorpio, from January to August this year, and jumping over obstacles. But we had to adapt to a new energy of Mars, more mature this year, which requires your time, which internalizes, deeply considered, reconsiders and evaluates the ground before advancing. Although this is a more deliberate Mars energy, we prefer fast-moving Mars, although we have not until 2017. The action Mars/Pluto ends in the first week of November, but his power was well depressed lately. And here's why. Mars rules the first house of the zodiac, Aries, walking with Pluto, which is supposedly the last planet in our solar system and that rules Scorpio. Mars is also the traditional ruler of Scorpio, so we are a double Scorpio energy here. Yes, the Scorpio energy continues. But the conjunction Mars/Pluto is like what happens when a child spends time with an elderly grandfather. The child becomes slower to accommodate the age of the grandfather, while his grandfather adjusts his conversation with the child's age. It's the best of both worlds, the relaxation to reflect, consider, evaluate and connect to a shared level. But when this is happening in our personal lives and you need things to be done or completed, and has no time for a contemplation, because you need an action happening now, this can be frustrating. And yet, this is part of an action because we must get used to align the energy before we jump into unknown territory without reassure ourselves that this is appropriate and best for us and is something we want to integrate and put ourselves in our reality. All this activity in October, the month one, had a purpose, to bring us the 2 in November. This is not about relationships, romance and revelry, although there is an opportunity for this. This has to do mainly with our core relationship with us. Either we are alone in our humanity or in partnership with our divinity, where one human becomes the divine human too. What we need to understand about ourselves, including our beauty, perfection, wisdom and potential, to allow this to happen. What we need to release, desprendermo us, move away from us, including our need for approval and validation, beliefs in unworthiness, fears about the future and the failure to recognize our power, to make room for our divinity. The opposite of divinity is not evil, which is the word life live, from back to front. It is profanation, which is the absence of divinity, and unholy reality is not one composed of 4 letters. Is one that has no room for God. Therefore, it will always be incomplete because the deity makes us complete, fair and consistent in our individual energy and toward congruence collectively. Many things in recent months, including the ridiculous antics of the U.S. presidential election, showed us how it resembles a world profane, pushing many people in the opposite direction, seeking wisdom and training of divinity. Each potential darkness has a light way, when we remember that the light is always there and that darkness always gives way to it. If the events of this year revealed the profane for you, make a deliberate choice to integrate the empowerment of divinity in your life. This is the month to do this. Moving the 3D desecration to the divine energy of 5D in November requires us to act, which begins energetically. The process starts with the intention to allow new beliefs, new perspectives and new alignments become our energy partners. Do we want to have higher frequency energy, such as joy, in our lives? These are created when we agreed to align with the energies of the 5D. I have to mention the full moon of November 14th, which involves the Sun/Moon in Taurus/Scorpio and is at 22 degrees, echoing the eclipse degree of November 13, 2013, just after Saturn first entered in Scorpio. This is all part of the profound transformation that is in place to propel us through the last stages of endurance for our ascent. Then, in 2017, under the occasional reminder of Scorpio, which is, after all, one of the signs of the zodiac, but will not be the same intensity as experienced since 2012. This is a very special full moon because the moon is closer to Earth than it has been since 1948, so it will have an extra impact. You may want to pay extra attention to their attitudes, and people can be very emotional and distracted. We have the usual ongoing energy taking place this month, too, including the square Uranus/Eris, and the energy of the wounded healer Chiron, but with a new focus. How can we hold things together to create new paradigms with which we have been wanting to align and integrate? Much of our time was spent in separate things this year. Now is the time to unite them, not in the same way, unless what we want, but in new and different ways to serve our intention for joy, peace, love, abundance, fulfillment, and our theme for 2016, congruous harmony. November is a month of spiritual maturity where we put aside the regrets of the past and start looking forward to act in new directions. Fully we welcome our power to create a reality and a world in which the spirit and the human they work together, in partnership, which is the only way to allow the energies of 5D remain. If we keep our focus on the integration of 5D, 3D is not going away or leaving. The rise is an integration, not an acquisition. We'll begin to see progress this month. But November is not all work and fun. It is also a month for joy, and it can be a joy ride if we are willing to stop working so much and we can get the rest of humanity aligns with the rising energy and have some fun. This is one of our missions in 2017, conduct the lighter energy and the frequency of joy, to be less a light worker and another beacon of light, taking advantage of our own journey as we work to realize our ascension missions and individual and collective transformation. And remember that we are already in power in 2017, the change began in September, so you do not have to wait until January for its new cheerful and invigorating early beginnings. You can put it in action now. Prepare and fly away to our new paradigms of 5D. Everything is ready. And between the driver's seat, you are not a passenger in these new paradigms. In addition, be the driver means you control the speed and how quickly reaches its destination. It's time to put all our learning into action. Have a wonderful month.